Hey gang, this is Vinny Biscotto with the Biscotto Team, and I got a tip for you on how to have a better loan application, right? So when you're applying for a mortgage, whether it be a refinance or a purchase, right, they're going to ask you some basic information. So they're going to ask you where you live, and they're going to look for a 2-year history of your residency, right? And then they're going to look for your employment, and they're going to want to see a 2-year history of where you've been employed. Now, what I see, and it's really common, is that most people, they're not accurate with the dates they put on their application, right? So I lived at this address about 3 or 4 years. So the dates that they have there usually are off, or they're rounding them up. And so when it comes to employment, the same thing happens, right? So people will put their start date, and it'll be to present on their current job. And when they're completing a 2-year history and they're doing the dates, they're real sketchy with it, right? And so why I'm talking about this and why this becomes a problem is if you have gaps in employment, the underwriters are going to look at that differently than if you just had, I worked at this company for a year and I worked at this other company for a year. Here's my 2-year history, right? That's real easy. Or I worked at the same place for 2 years. That's easy. But if you've been somewhere working 6 months and then you're somewhere else for 3 months and there's gaps in there, it's hard to determine a good income number, a stable income. So the more gap you have in employment, the harder it is to determine that, especially if your new job is starting with a variable income where you're not working 40 hours every week. Maybe sometimes it's 36, sometimes it's 35, sometimes it's 40, but it's not the same every week. You're not guaranteed 40 hours. So it's really important that we have this information to be accurate. So I encourage all my loan officers on my team that once we receive the application to go back and ask those questions again and just confirm everything. But it'll help and it'll make your application process easier if you make sure that stuff is accurate when you're filling out the application. So trying to save you a headache down the road. I hope this helps. If you have questions, you can call me, Vinny, at 817-714-5090, or you can reach us at thebiscottoteam.com. And remember, for all your mortgage needs, talk to Vinny. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.